Alright guys, so I haven't quite got to do the no Uber build yet. I said I was going to put it out a couple days ago, and I have tried and tried and tried and can't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and just show the other thing that I've been working on, which does have Ubers. It uses Shako, right? That's the only Uber it needs though. But anyway, let's get into it here. It is a build that uses the Lightning Spear enchantment, and it uses Retribution, which is a little weird. But Retribution works with that new snapshotting method, right? Where you... Hold on, I think I can show it here. We have Retribution on this and this. If you go here... Damage versus stunned at 30. If I put the gloves on, we're at 43, right? Take the gloves off. Put this on, we're at 71. Put the gloves on, take this off, and we're still at 71. So the lightning spear, sorry, you guys probably hear my kid in the back there. He's hitting stuff. This one right here where it stuns enemies for 2 seconds when it critically strikes. So, nope, I don't have a weapon on. The way that it works, the build, is when you pick up this crackling energy, right? It spawns this little lightning bolt, goes around, zaps stuff, stuns things, okay? And that allows us to use some of the other effects in the build that we'll get into in a second. There'll also be a build planner in the description. It actually gets pretty broken when you add in the... Here, Conjuration Mastery. You usually have between like 2 to 6 conjurations going at any moment, as long as you're running through properly, right? Yeah, so we got 2 going there. It gets really wild though when you add stable currents to it. It actually adds tons of damage, because between what you naturally get from doing it, which you can't see because there's too much stuff down there. There's still too much stuff down there. We got 6, 7, 6, 5, which we've already lost it, unfortunately. We'll try again in a second. Let's go through the actual build though, and then we'll talk more about how it works. I'll show some gameplay for it and things like that. It can do tier 14 so far for me, and I can almost do tier 15. The problem is, and this will be in the build guide as well, my total armor is on my chest, so I can't pixel pull and pull in with Raiment of the Infinite. If I could, we would probably be done 15, 16, maybe even 17 by now. Because my plan is to change my amulet around, get rid of the movement speed, add damage reduction, get rid of Devouring Blaze, add damage reduction from close, get a pair of pants here, remove the damage reduction from distant, and put on, what is it? I just said it a second ago, total armor. That way my armor can still hit cap, and then we're going to pixel the, what is it, the necklace. We're going to put Veer's Master in here and pixel it to some pants. And we should be fine with damage reduction between the pixel pulls and stuff like that. Here on, let me go ahead and show you guys again. Once you get things actually going, we're at 3, 7, 8, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 11. Yeah, it gets pretty wild. That's the highest I've seen is 16, and that would be 48% multiplicative added damage, which is actually pretty nutty. But let's get into the builds here. I'm cutting in the middle of my video here to also show you, let you guys know that like I'm showing you guys that I've gotten to tier 15 with this build. Overall, it was this build, okay? The issue is that, as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of runs here, so I can't put any gameplay in because I wasn't recording then. I'm going to be running a bunch of tier... Everything you see in this video will be a bunch of tier 9s. That way, I can just, like, build up. I can still show the build doing something, and I'm just farming, essentially. But I need to build up my sigil powder so I can go back to tier 15 and, like, find new things, right? Because doing it once or twice isn't going to work. I need to make changes, right? I need multiple runs, and the best way to do that with this build is to run tier 9. You know, because you level up your glyph, you get enough powder to like make a difference, right? Without hitting tier 10 where things get a little bit harder, which this build can easily handle, but I'm trying to like run through as quick as possible, right? I'm trying to farm, and tier 9 is the best place to farm. Period. Anyway, back to the video. Also, we don't do the thing where we like snapshot or do the Undaro's Visage or the infection thing in tier 9 because it handles it perfectly fine, and that's just a lot of effort. We only do that when we're like pushing for the higher tiers. So far, what I have right now, obviously Shako. We have Mage Lords on our chest, which again, we're trying to move to the pants. but it has total armor, damage reduction from close, damage reduction from distant, which should just be flat damage reduction, but I don't have one of those right now. The method that I was using to make gold, where you level glyphs for people, doesn't work since Abattoir Azure came out, because you can just do Abattoir Azure and level your glyphs. And then we have damage reduction from burning. The gloves, we have attack speed, crit chance, lightning, critical strike damage, and 5% chance to restore primary resource. I have somewhat debated trying out Fist of Fate, and it works, but I'm trying to get this snapshotting thing to work, and I would like another offensive aspect. If that doesn't work out, we will try to do the Fist of Fate again. Like I said, though, this one is confirmed. It does 14, and it actually does it pretty well. The only reason it doesn't do 15 is because enemies keep on moving away from each other, so I need to get Raiment of the Infinite on, which means I need to get a pair of pants, and as you can see, I have like 300 million gold and don't feel like trying to figure out a way to get more gold. Anyway, go over to the pants, damage reduction from close, damage reduction from distant, and plus rings of ball lightning. The plus rings of ball lightning is actually super important. I didn't realize how important they were, but it actually adds like 20% damage or something like that. Boots, we got rid of our Pentient Greaves from the other build. We got movement speed, damage reduction while injured, mana cost reduction, and ranks of teleport. Ranks of teleport just to bring down its, cooldown. And then we have exploiters on them so that when the enemies inevitably, the elites and the bloodseekers will inevitably get rid of their, they'll go unstoppable, right? So that will make it where the stun damage doesn't really work and the other aspects don't really work. So this will give us more damage, and this can actually be snapshotted too, so we'll probably be doing that. So we'll put exploiters on an amulet and a high roll and then move it over to the boots. This has max evade charges on it because that's what I had, but actually the one that you evade and gain movement speed is probably better because it gives you movement speed, which triggers with Ravenous to give you more attack speed. Gravitational on the dagger, nothing's changed there with all stats, int, mastery damage, and damage to close. Technically, instead of mastery skill damage, I think vulnerable is better. But again, this is what I got, but vulnerable is better just because it adds damage that does get multiplied, even if it's only by 20%, it does multiply. And then I think it multiplies with the rest of your damage as well. Most people run vulnerable. Also, my focus is only 888. I've been trying to find a 925. I probably ran Durio like 200 times in the last week trying to get something like this, but 925. It's not worked out for me. But anyway, we still got Conceded on here with crit chance, mana cost reduction, resource generation, and cooldown reduction. I Conceded and Storm Swell both. Storm Swell's on the ring. It doesn't seem like you can snapshot them. I'm not sure. I haven't noticed like a huge damage boost when I've tried. And there's no stats in your stats and materials that at least I can find that changes when it's active and when it's not active. So it's really hard to tell. And we got crit chance, damage close, max life, resource gen, and then Tal Rasha's, of course. And then lastly, disobedience on the amulet with movement speed, total armor, mastery, and devouring blades, which we kind of talked about earlier. Go over to the vampiric powers. We are rocking domination, but what you should do is change to infection. So, hold on. Domination, if you take it out and you put infection in, they have the same requirements, I'm pretty sure. We get our proc there, let's get to 4, and then you can just remove it and add domination back and keep it, and as long as you hit stuff, you'll keep that. Alternatively, what I do, because I do have a Andario's Visage, I just put the Visage on, proc it, and then put this back on. But if you don't have an Andario's Visage, you can do what I just did, and it does the same thing. Let's go back to Vampiric Powers here. Prey on the Weak and a Cursed Touch to make enemies vulnerable. Ravenous because the attack speed, and Resilience for some damage reduction. Over to the skill tree. We're going to breeze through this real quick because this video is already hitting 8 minutes. We have 1 point in Frostbolt, 1 point in Firebolt. We need at least... Well, actually, you don't need it anywhere because we're using Shako now, but if you were doing my other build, you'd need at least 1 in Firebolt, and that build actually used Frostbolt for Aspect of Might because of the helmet. Anyway, come down here. We got 1 into Devastation to 3 into Elemental Dominance. We have Teleport. We don't have... I don't think we have any extra. No, we don't. We don't have anything extra in Teleport. Over to Shimmering Teleport for the damage reduction. We only have 1 point into Flame Shield. We don't... this stuff would probably be pretty good to have, and we might change the build a little bit to grab these, but yeah, because when we have Raiment of the Infinite, when we finally get there, we'll take off the Rings of Glass Cannon because we're taking extra damage. I'm trying to not go a damage reduction while injured build. I'm not really a fan of them. But anyway, let's go to here. We got one in Elemental Attunement just to get a free defensive skill occasionally. We still use Frost Nova so that we can freeze enemies in place. That will probably get changed to Ice Armor once I get Raiment of the Infinite in, because we're going to be pulling things in, and then they'll be stunned by Raiment, and then the little lightning bolt from Lightning Spear will probably stun stuff in the background. I still think that the lightning bolt or the lightning spear will be the way to go, though, because of the extra damage that it adds whenever you just like make a bunch of them. Go down here. Of course, we got 3 in Conjuration Mastery, 1 into everything just to get down here to the lightning spear that stuns. Also, instead of a basic skill, I forgot to do this when I was recording earlier. We have Ice Blades down to Summon Ice Blades, just to help with some cooldowns a bit. Also, I realized I didn't say this throughout the video at all, but we just hit 1,000 subs, so thank you guys again. And I would appreciate if anybody like, comment, subscribe, all the generic YouTube stuff. Anyway, let's get back to the rest of it. And then, of course, Protection Mana Shield. And then over here to get the Devouring Blaze, we put 1 into Inner Flames. Everything we can into Ball Lightning, of course. And then down to Wizard's Ball Lightning. This is what sustains our mana, because when you pick up whenever you get to a higher rank and enemies don't die immediately, they make tons of crackling energy. So you don't really... So what I was doing before, I was using Chain Lightning to make crackling energy. You know, honestly, you still need that in the lower ranks of Abattoir Reserve, because stuff dies before it makes crackling energy for you to pick up. But in the later tiers, when things are tanking a bunch of damage, that's how you sustain mana, right? And then also I have 1 extra point in a Static Discharge just to try to make a little bit of extra crackling energy sometimes. And then, of course, Invigorating Conduit. That's how it's also sustaining the mana. When you pick up the crackling energy, you gain 12 mana plus anything from your resource gen. And Stable Currents. We don't go down here because we don't really care about this. But at pulsing faster and costing no charges, that doesn't really matter. But we do want Prime Unstable Currents because it increases your attack speed, which will increase your damage with Enhanced Ball Lightning. Down to Electrocution to make them do less damage. And then, of course, Veer's Mastery. Let's go over to the Paragon board here. We have 7 boards. When we switch to Raiment of the Infinite, one of the Dexterity boards should probably be switched to Territorial, just so we can get 15% damage reduction from close, but for now we do not run Territorial. So the starter board still has Elementalists in it, making sure to grab these over here. You can go either direction, but if you have max resistance to all elements, of course you just go the other way. Come up through here, we still have Tears of Blood in here. Nothing about these 2 boards has changed. The location of this one has changed, but that's about it. Come up through here, we still have Reinforced and... what is this one again? Enchantment Master? Yeah, and this is Burning Instinct. I don't remember if I'd said it or not. We used to come over here and grab this stuff, and I still wish we could. But I would rather have a whole nother board than come over here and grab these, right? But we have enough to fill that Reinforced. Then we come up through here. Frigid Fate, we have Adept in here still, so we just come up here, grab Frigid Fate, which is a little bit lower now, only 18%. It's kind of barely worth getting now, but it's still worth getting, right? Of course, and things might change to where we boost that up. I was running Enchanter and some things, but this multiplicative damage is here. It's really good to have, but if you spend a whole Paragon board to boost it, you could have just put something in there that'll give you 10% multiplicative damage, right? And like, it doesn't even have to have the vulnerable part added to it. Not that things aren't always constantly vulnerable with this build, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. And we come up through here. Destruction in here. Just enough to get to the next board, so we go through here. We get a little bit, we get like 1 or 2 nodes extra than we need. I think only 1 actually, but it just like makes a path through here. And of course, grabbing this stuff over here. We come up to Conjuration Mastery and make sure we grab this max mana, even though, unfortunately, on both of the max mana boards, we're not grabbing the bonus, but this one doesn't matter because this one's damage to stunned enemies, which would be nice, but it's not needed. It's flat damage. Come up through here. We have Flame Feeder in this one, and then we come over here to Static Surge. Yeah, that's Conjuration Mastery, I think is what it's called, right? No, Elemental Summoner, sorry. And then we have Control in here, so that the stunned enemies are taking 20% or extra multiplicative damage. I get that the elites will kind of like, you know, they'll be stunned and then they'll become unstoppable, and they'll be stunned and then they'll be unstoppable, but that's why we're going to start snapshotting, not Pixel, we're going to start snapshotting Exploiters with a max roll. That way that we can do more damage to them while they're unstoppable. And then of course the unstoppable only lasts a few seconds, and then they'll be stunned the other half of the time. So it's really just about keeping a damage increase. If there was something else you could put on boots to do more damage, I would just do that. But anyway, that is the entire like build itself. I appreciate anybody that watched. I would really actually appreciate input from people about ways to improve this build, because the reason I haven't uploaded a video when I said I was going to, I was like, oh man, I'll figure out how to do some things, and then I've just like fucking hit a brick wall so hard. You can ask my girlfriend, I've sat here for 3 days straight and just tried to figure out I haven't even showered. I'm about to go take a shower now finally, because I wanted to get a video out for you guys, right? But like, it's rough, man. I do everything by myself and I just can't figure some stuff out. But anyway, I appreciate anybody who stuck around to watch the video. Like I said, if you guys have input, let me know. I will try to get another video out sooner than 3 days with like the completed version of this build. I just got to find a pair of pants to see if Raiment of the Infinite works without me, getting killed in the process, because that's the main issue. And we'll have to take out Ever Living, of course, which I don't know. Part of me thinks Ever Living's almost better, right? Because you don't have to have close enemies to get that reduction, and the lightning spear goes around and shocks people, right? But that's all stuff that like test and all that. And I got to get aspects, etc. Appreciate anybody who watched. I've said that like 5 times. Thank you. Have a nice rest of your day.